Good morning and welcome to this, the third edition of Open Line's update on transformation in U.S. Army Europe. We have a team of leaders in our studio this morning from Heidelberg, Mannheim, and the Wiesbaden communities. They're ready to take your questions, and in a moment I'll give you our phone numbers and the email address. But first, because we have such a large group here, I'd like to familiarize you with the voices to the names, and so I would ask each of our guests to please introduce themselves.
Well, Gary, I'm Colonel Bill Butcher. I'm the Garrison Commander of U.S. Army Garrison Baden-Württemberg in Heidelberg, Germany.
Gary, Colonel Jeff Dill, Garrison Commander, U.S. Army Garrison Wiesbaden.
Good morning, Gary. I'm Colonel Jose Conde. I'm with the Heidelberg Dental Activity.
Gary, good morning. I'm Dave Fulton. I am the Deputy Chief for the Relocation Task Force.
Good morning, Gary. Mark Holt, Director of Public Works, USAG Wiesbaden.
Good morning. Roger Gerber, Director of Transformation in Wiesbaden.
Good morning, Gary. Frank Nicol. I'm the AFRTS General Manager for the UCOM Consolidated Exchange, which covers Heidelberg, Mannheim, and Stuttgart.
Good morning, Gary. I'm Colonel Paula Underwood, the Commander of the Heidelberg Medical Department Activity.
And good morning. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Griffin, the USAG Mannheim Garrison Commander.
So you see what I mean. If there's any questions out there that can't be answered by this group, they probably can't be answered. You can call us live in the studio, DSN 389-4595. That's DSN 389-4595. The civilian number is 0621-460-85595. Once again, 0621-460-85595. You can email us, and those emails will be brought in here to the studio. Email address is openline@afn.dma.mil. All this information, if you're near a PowerView receiver, your TV on Channel 7, where the channel guide is, all this information is there. The program is also being streamed on that site, and they're also streaming the program now. This is a fairly new thing. If you have the AFN app on your iPhone, your Android headset, you can also hear the program there. And for this particular event, we are dual casting on both AM and FM in the Wiesbaden and Heidelberg areas. Colonel Butcher, let's start with you, sir.
Sure.
Please.
Well, okay. I think best for me, Gary, is to just kind of set the stage. As you know, nearly a year ago now, on the 23rd of June of 2010, we received the Department of Defense notification of the closure of 22 installations in both the Mannheim and Heidelberg communities, leaving some installations to transition to U.S. Army Garrison Kaiserslautern in the future. And quite frankly, we're deep into that transformation process now. Let me just talk a little bit about that. The notification message told us that in 3 phases between FY10 and FY15, we were to both inactivate U.S. Army Garrison Mannheim, assume responsibility for the workforce and community and installations in U.S. Army Garrison Mannheim from my headquarters in Baden-Württemberg, and then conduct closure activities of installations, support the relocations of units and the deactivations of units over that said period of time. To date, things are going well. You know, while there are challenges, there are also successes. I'll tell you one that we've done tremendously responsible in support of this whole premise of respect for the law, respect for the process, respect for the people, is the inactivation of U.S. Army Garrison Mannheim. And I want to take a moment to both thank Lieutenant Colonel Griffin for the hard work and effort of her team in the accomplishment of that. And I want to turn it over to her real quick here just to talk about the deactivation ceremony that's coming up on the 31st and some of the things she's got to help memorialize that her workforce.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Since the announcement came out, we've successfully turned 3 installations back to the host nation in the Friedrichsfeld area and the Class 3 point outside Coleman. And now that we're in the home stretch of relinquishing command and deactivating the garrison, we're really focusing on honoring our employees, and we'll do that this Friday at 10 o'clock at Building 725 in a local national and civilian workforce awards ceremony. And then we invite everyone in the community out for the ceremony on the 31st of May at 10 o'clock at the BFV Sports Arena. And that date is significant for a couple reasons. The remainder of our local national workforce will be released on that day, although the CPAC is committed to continuing to try to find jobs for those employees that haven't been placed through their notification period on 30 September. And then secondly, the 31st of May marks our final day on Taylor Barracks, which will be the next installation that will return to host nation. So I think USAG Baden-Württemberg is well postured to take over the community. Effective 1 June, we've got a base operations cell led by Mr. Ralph Santalese and Master Sergeant Romeo Sitsatin. They'll be headquartered in Building 245, right there where the garrison used to be, and they will be the Baden-Württemberg commander's eyes and ears on the ground in Mannheim to help support those remaining families and soldiers as they continue this transition.
Thank you. Colonel Dill, where are we now in Wiesbaden? What's the situation there? What status do we have?
Well, Gary, I just wanted to tell you, first of all, it's great to be here. I want to thank you for inviting us down for the Open Line Forum. I can tell you that the Wiesbaden team has been working diligently these transition issues very closely with the Baden-Württemberg team and the 5th Corps transition team. All of this in an effort to make everyone's move into the Wiesbaden community as smooth as possible. And we're ready to take questions this morning. I know there's some interest in where we are in this process, and we want to make it as smooth as possible.
Why don't we just continue on around the table? Everybody can give a little status report. And just introduce yourself as you take over.
Yes, my name is Colonel Jose Conde. I'm with the Heidelberg Dental Activity. We are going to be supporting the Mannheim community until the last minute. We are also working on how we are going to support them once the Mannheim community closes and moves everything to the Heidelberg area. We have a plan. We are working on it. Things might change from here to then, and we're going to make sure that we inform the community about those changes as we go on.
Gary, thank you for letting me be here today. Again, I'm Dave Fulton, the Deputy Chief of the Relocation Task Force. Last time, Colonel George Seifert was here. He is the Chief of the Relocation Task Force. And what we are doing is we're working with the 5th Corps staff and the USAR staff to set the conditions for our relocation up to Wiesbaden and the closure and the turnover of our facilities in Heidelberg over to the garrison so they can return them back to the host nation. Lots of issues exist, and we are meeting them head on with planning and briefing to USAR leadership to get their guidance and set our timeline for our move. What I can tell you that on a day-to-day basis, our purpose exists to coordinate and deconflict, educate, and communicate the plan for both headquarters, 5th Corps and the USAR headquarters, up to Wiesbaden.
Hi, Gary. Mark Holt, again, the Director of Public Works in Wiesbaden. My priority has been on getting people moving from Baden-Württemberg adequately housed in the Wiesbaden footprint. We provide personalized housing services, whether being assigned to barracks, family housing, or off-post, from our furnishings assignments clerks all the way up to the garrison commander and command star major. We appreciate how important it is to get people housed properly and quickly into the footprint.
Well, Gary, the construction program is right on track. Our new housing program is scheduled to be complete, 326 units in May of 2012. Our renovation of existing housing is on track. For operational facilities, our large building command battle center is 60% complete, on track to be construction complete in March of next year with move-in in late summer. We're working operational facilities for 5th Corps, and those will be completed throughout the summer with the final facilities by October. And then community support. We continue to work on those. We're working on new warrior zone, and we'll be opening up a new school-age services.
Gary, Frank Nicola, the AFRTS General Manager, probably our biggest challenge is to continue to provide the services within both communities and give our best. I can tell you that all of the changes that we're going through are always coordinated with the Baden-Württemberg commander, and once confirmed, our mission is to keep the community well informed of our changes. Consolidations, some of the closures are inevitable, We do look closely at hours of operation to continue to provide a well-established service, maintain those services, and also keep in mind that we have a very strong workforce consisting of U.S. and local national personnel that we continuously put a lot of emphasis in finding new positions, new assignments as we go through this difficult transition period.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Again, Colonel Underwood, Commander of the Heidelberg Medical Department activity. Our clinics include our Heidelberg Health Center here. We have a clinic in Mannheim and Coleman, and our Stuttgart Army Health Clinic. We understand that medical care is always going to be a concern, and especially in this time of transformation. But I want to assure our public and our listeners that we'll always have a top quality health care for them, whether we provide it internally within our own military treatment facility, or whether we can get that from Landstuhl, or whether we work with our partners in our host nation to provide that care. We are going through changes. We're now currently in phase 2 of our transformation. We've made some of those changes more recently. We've discontinued our same-day surgery. We've reduced our acute care clinic hours. It's no longer open on Sundays or federal holidays. We do have full emergency room service in the host nation. We will be reducing our services at the Mannheim clinic as the population reduces, and then we'll be closing our GYN services in September. But again, I just want to reiterate, we will get those services elsewhere as we transform. Thank you.
Colonel Griffin, you already spoke about this upcoming ceremony. Are you out of a job then, or what happens? Are you going to take over the task force that runs the place in the interim, or?
I am kind of out of a job for the summer, but I'll start school in late July in Washington, D.C., so I'm excited about that opportunity, and I'll miss Mannheim very much.
Well, we certainly wish you all the best, and Godspeed when the time comes. We've gotten a couple of emails that I think we should probably get rid of before, if we get a deluge of telephone calls. You never know. We're asked about Baumholder. Will there be a military presence in Baumholder? Who'd like to take that?
I can take that, Gary.
Okay.
You know, at this point in time, what we do know is that the present plan continues to have a military presence in Baumholder. Mm-hmm. You know, what that looks like, I think, is it's
been kind of on again, off again, and throughout the years. Yeah.
But there will be a military presence in Baumholder. You know, it really depends on what decisions are made at the USER level and higher on which of the 4 BCTs returns back to CONUS.
Okay. We have Edward asking about, he works at the AFIS Gießen Distribution Center. He's wondering about the relocation of Gießen, the GDC, to move into warehouses at the time occupied by DLA with an actual date of 2014 to relocate to Germersheim Army Depot. A rumor going around, he says the date has changed to 2016 or 17.
Unfortunately, well, I'll take that, Gary,
Sure.
from Frank Nickel from AFIS.
You bet.
Unfortunately, it's a rumor, and we are still on target. We're looking at construction 212, 213, and relocation into 14 as Gießen shuts down and relocates to Germersheim. So, unfortunately, the rumors about 216, 217 are really inaccurate.
That's the rumors often are. There's always you all have websites where you put out your status of what's going on, and that's probably where people should go. We'll probably go around a little later, and you can give us where you have all your information, your particular websites. This is a series of questions by Roy, who is a retired sergeant, and as the case is every time the military leaves a community in Germany, and this has been going on for years, from Berlin to Munich and Frankfurt and so forth, there's a large population of retirees who pretty much are then having to travel much further to get the services they're used to. Anyway, Roy asks about if he can refill his prescription refills. Does he go to Landstuhl? How long is the Heidelberg pharmacy going to be available? so forth.
Okay, our pharmacy is definitely available. It's going to be available up until the very end as we close ultimately, and as you heard Colonel Butcher said, that's several years forecasted from now. Ultimately, though, we'll be going on to PHV, but we'll still have primary care and we'll still have pharmacy capability. So we will be here until our last beneficiary leaves. However, for the retirees, what they can do, we have a refill service. It's on demand. It gives the choice all over Europe of picking up refills. So if he needs to have a refill done, when he does that online refill or the telephonic service, he chooses where he wants to pick up that medication. So if he chooses Heidelberg, he should pick it up at Heidelberg. If he goes to Landstuhl to pick it up at their pharmacy and he hasn't chosen Landstuhl, it will ultimately be a delay for him because it's already been filled at Heidelberg for him to pick it up there. So I just ask our listeners to listen to that prompt on where you want it to be picked up, because that's where, if you want to go to Landstuhl, you have to choose Landstuhl. Now, I would say it is not a good idea to use the emergency room ever for prescription refills. Actually, these are things that should be planned with the primary care provider, or so that you get the care that you need. And it's not a good use of an emergency room to go to any emergency room for a prescription refill.
Just for emergencies.
Yes, just for emergencies.
Paul, I'd like to add on a little bit there. I had the great opportunity to speak to Retiree Council. This is Colonel Butcher this weekend here in Heidelberg, and one of the questions asked was, can you take your prescription down to the German pharmacy, understanding that it's going to be more expensive to do so? Can you take your prescription down to the German pharmacy and get it filled? Could you maybe take that one on, because I certainly couldn't.
Right, and this is an opportunity to also mention that we have a partner for our, as I mentioned, a host nation partner. It's International SOS, and this is our managed care partner overseas in various locations, including Europe, Eurasia, Africa. Now, I'm going to answer your question in several parts, because what I want to ask our listeners to do is to get online and go to the TRICARE Overseas Program Handbook to download this handbook, because it has so many things in here, and I use it myself. I have to go in here and look at what is capable for pharmacy, and this is really a good question. And it's a little bit nuanced, to be honest with you. It depends on what type of product it is, but suffice it to say there's a whole area here on pharmacy in the booklet, and I want to go to that directly so that I don't mislead any of our listeners on that. One second. As I look for that.
Well, as you look for that, why don't I give the telephone numbers again, in case somebody wants to give us a call. It's DSN 389-4595, DSN 389-4595. The civilian number is 0621-460-85595, 0621-460-85595. The email, openline@afn.dma.mil. And you can also get this information on your Channel 7 PowerView receiver, as well as listen to the program there if you like. The information is also posted at our website, afneurope.net, where the show is also streaming. And believe you me, if you have a question, this is your chance to get it in. There's bound to be somebody here who can at least point you in the right direction.
Gary, one of the points I want to bring up is, and Colonel Butcher hit on it, the Retiree Council, and the fact that the garrisons have retiree services officers. One of my additional responsibilities, a thing that I volunteer to support, is I serve as a member on the U.S. Army Retiree Council, and we work with the RSOs and contact the RSOs to identify those issues that are key to retirees. And as we within Germany have been closing bases, there are fewer RSOs available to support retirees, but they continue to exist. They're in Wiesbaden, they're in Kaiserslautern, they're in Heidelberg, and retirees should seek their RSOs for support. Those retiree services officers are well trained. They know a lot of the answers, and where they don't know the answers, they know where to go to get those answers through the chain of command. Chain of command is very key to ensuring the RSOs are informed, and we identify those issues that are important to our retiree community overseas.
Good point. Colonel Underwood, did you find the information?
Yes, I did. And this is a section that deals with host nation pharmacy claims. When they download the booklet, this is rather an extensive booklet, but it's on page 42. And here's what we say about that. So they may have to pay up front for that pharmacy cost, especially the retirees. It's different if it's active duty or active duty family member because they have a different program. It's TRICARE Prime. However, for our retirees, they need to file a host nation pharmacy claim. So there's a form related to that. It's DD Form 2642, and they can claim reimbursement for those costs. And there's an address for which they have to mail it, and they have to show proof of payment for that. Now, there's also an Express Scripts call number that they can call. And Gary, I don't know if we need. Shall I give that out now or?
Oh, if they for particular the individuals who are interested in this, I'm sure they can
find it on this place. Very, very helpful.
Okay. Final question from Roy was about mail. He says, I guess he's getting his mail in Heidelberg. Can he get it at Fogelbay in the mailroom there? Request a retiree mailbox from there. Or would it be Wiesbaden, or does it matter? He said, we were told in Heidelberg that more mailboxes have been added to the mailroom in Germersheim for use by retirees. Is this true? Well, probably nobody specifically knows that, but
well, I do.
You do?
Yeah. Colonel Butcher, we have 60 retiree boxes right now in Germersheim.
Oh.
And of course, as our Heidelberg retirees lose the ability to use the R boxes, which are presently at the community shopping center in Heidelberg, then they will have the opportunity to do that elsewhere, whether that's in Kaiserslautern or Stuttgart or Wiesbaden. Each of those communities have retiree boxes that are often available. Certainly, they're subject to availability, but every community has them.
Actually, you just need to look and see how far away it is. What's the shortest? Yeah. I forgot. Roy did have another question. Roy was very ambitious this morning. They have to go to MP Customs, I guess, to get to be able to shop and that sort of thing. And he said, Where can I go to get papers for a new Zollamt card issued by the Community MP Customs? He said, we've heard that the Zollamt will close in Heidelberg, and we'll have to go to the Mannheim Zollamt. And anyway,
Well, Roy, let me just thank you for keeping us going here. I appreciate it. First off, the fact is that there are no plans right now for the closure of the Zollamt in Heidelberg. That may in fact inevitably occur, but there aren't plans to close the Mannheim Zollamt at all. The Mannheim Zollamt is located at Bahnhofstrasse 1 in Mannheim, and while this will play over and over again, Roy, I hope you're listening. The number over there is 0621-862-4090. So let me just make sure you know that for right now, getting your pink cards, you can still do that in Heidelberg, but once we close the Zollamt there, then you'll have access in Mannheim.
Jackie writes, since so many things are already closing in Mannheim and people are already PCSing, do you know when the vet clinic will be closing and when the last date to get health certificates for PCSing is?
Our vet clinic on Benjamin Franklin Village recently curtailed their hours, and that's to correspond with the declining population, but they have not yet established a closure date. So as long as we have our veterinarian on site and the ability to provide the service, we'll continue to do so. So please just stay tuned. You can expect probably more changes in hours and availability of the service, but the service won't go away completely until the veterinarian command makes that decision, and they have not done so yet.
And Alan wants to know about the timeline for the closure of Heidelberg schools.
Well, I think that's a good question, Alan. At present, what we do know about schools in general between the Mannheim and Heidelberg community, I want to make sure that I'm clear for everyone. This year is the last year for Mannheim High School and Mannheim Middle School. The students presently attending Mannheim High School will next year be bused to Heidelberg High School, and the middle schoolers will consolidate with the elementary school, which will go through a renovation project over the summer in order to accommodate both our elementary and middle school students there. The Mannheim Middle School will then continue for a period of time subsequent to the size of population availability. For Heidelberg, the one closure we do know of right now is that we'll close Mark Twain Village Elementary School this summer, this year. This will be the last year for Mark Twain Village Elementary School. Our elementary students over in Mark Twain Village will be bused to Patrick Henry Village Elementary School. And then we anticipate that before we do closure in Heidelberg with schools, we'll look at consolidations. So there is a likelihood of consolidation onto Patrick Henry Village as our population dwindles. And then certainly as we get to the FY14, potentially FY15 time frame, Dodge will responsibly find a proper education for military students that remain.
Once again, if you would like to call us in the studio with a question or comment, it's DSN 389-4595, DSN 389-4595. The civilian number is 0621-460-85595, 0621-460-85595. You can email us, and that's what most people seem to be doing this morning. Maybe our phone lines are down or something. Open line at afn.dma.mil. You can also get this information at the Channel 7 PowerView channel guide on your TV, if you have a TV handy. You can also listen to the show there. The information is also at our website, afneurope.net. So you can go there if you didn't have a chime to write down the telephone number and give us a call. We have an email from Dan, who doesn't seem to be very happy about the scouting program in the Kaiserslautern area. He said, what can IMCOM do to ensure a healthy scouting program in the Sembach area? He said, again, rumor mill, that he's hearing stories that the state of the scouting program in Sembach, with the Girl Scouts and the Cub Scouts taken out of their scout hut, phone being disconnected, problems trying to get registered as a private organization, and so on. Colonel Butcher?
Sure. I think this is one that we have already resolved for the most part presently. In terms of private organization registration, there was a miscommunication between the Scouts, and I believe that has now been resolved. Scouts, of course, are always afforded support by military installations, but they must register as private organizations regardless of that fact, and that was where the miscommunication was. In terms of space on Sembach, of course, Sembach is an important installation for everyone. It's an important installation for our communities and in our private organizations, but it's also an important installation for organizations and tenant activities that are moving there. So we're doing some space allocations, and the Scouts have been afforded a location. Both the Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts have been afforded a location to meet, and we'll continue to provide that level of support to them as we both desire and are obligated to do.
The 18th MP Brigade and the 95th MP Battalion are also going to Sembach. What's the status on that?
Well, they're moving this summer, and I'll tell you, that's another really good news story for us. And we anticipated their actual departure would be about a year from now in FY12. That was accelerated a bit, and it was done so through the support from Installation Management Command Europe, and the great work of the 18th MP Brigade Commander and the 95th MP Battalion Commander. When asked, they said, "Yep, let's go. Let's move our families now so we can get settled." We're in the process of doing that now in coordination with our Air Force partners in Ramstein in order to find housing for them and to settle them and get them started. And their office spaces on Sembach going through are near complete with renovation.
And here in Heidelberg, we are supposed to be completely gone by 2015. Is that pretty much on schedule? I mean, every time I have seen these transitions, they sometimes slip a little bit.
Gary, Dave Fulton, I'll take that one. We are on course to meet that timeline. We're doing a lot of planning. When we're working with the Wiesbaden community up there with Roger Gerber and the Transformation Management Stationing Office. The core is moving right now. We are working to finalize the timeline for the USERA move, but we anticipate that it'll be a phased approach later on this year, starting off with an advanced party of a small number of folks who are our technical experts who are going to help complete that command center that Roger mentioned being 60% complete right now. Our advanced party will go forward, and next spring, we'll probably begin the first phase of moving our main body. That's the summer of 12. And then based on the timeline of other facilities that we will occupy and their completion date for the renovations that need to be done to them, we will have a better detail of our timeline for moving the additional folks out of Campbell Barracks and out of Tompkin Barracks. Tompkin Barracks again is planned to be cleared next year, and we have some USERA elements who are on that right now. We're working the details of where they will go and when they will go.
The correctional facility that's here at Coleman Barracks is going to be also going to Sembach. Is that 2013? And what's the status that? Who would take that?
I'll take that on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Colonel Butcher. Yeah, it is. At this point, what we do know is that we anticipate the corrections facility being complete for occupancy about January of 14. So in FY14, the second quarter of 14, and until then, of course, we'll continue to do what we're doing out at Coleman Army Airfield.
Perhaps it's a good point to go back to the basics as to why we're actually going through all of this exercise, closing down Heidelberg and Mannheim, and moving everything to Wiesbaden. What was the moving factor there? Why are we doing this?
Gary, back around 2003, our leadership at the Army level, EUCOM, the European Command, and USERA, and the staff officers who support them, conducted an assessment and developed a plan that synchronizes our force structure changes directed by the Department of Defense, global posture review, combined with EUCOM's strategic theater transformation plan. They looked at what we needed to do to set the right footprint in this theater, and since 2003, we've been seeing and experiencing the execution of that plan. As the USERA headquarters moves beginning this year with our small advance party, I can tell you, having been on the parade field watching General Hertling take command, he was charged by the EUCOM commander with several things. Partner with our established partnerships with the Germans, be innovative in our approach, and enjoy Germany. And I think through this process, folks are going to realize that moving to Wiesbaden is a great thing. They were just selected as the #1 installation in our Army and our gold medal community that we're moving to. So folks should be excited about this move. In the end, we are better postured to perform the responsibilities that we have as an Army Service Component Command over here in Europe.
I'm kind of curious about the structure of the new command. I mean, we had United States Army Europe, and then we had 5th Corps, and in the old days we had 4 divisions and so forth. And what's it going to look like actually? Is it an Army command? What will it be?
We will still have the USERA headquarters over here, an Army Service Component Command, and the Army has recently made the decision to build the 5th Corps at Wiesbaden. So you will also have a Corps headquarters over here. The 1st Armored Division, everyone knows, they had their flag casing ceremony last Friday. Great ceremony, wonderfully attended by our host nation representatives, and they were very supportive of the 1st Armored Division. They are sad to see them go. They're very happy and ready to receive the USERA headquarters and the 5th Corps headquarters as they're coming up there. But right now at Wiesbaden, you'll still have the USERA headquarters. You will still have the Corps headquarters, but you will not have a division headquarters here anymore.
What about IMCOM? Where's IMCOM Europe going?
Well, I guess I can take that one on. Income Europe is going to Simbach, as a matter of fact, and a good section of Installation Management Command should begin moving between now and this time next year.
What happens when people are assigned now to Heidelberg? Do they have an option to move to the place where they know they're eventually going to have to move to?
We're currently going through a lot of those questions right now, as we have folks coming to the USER headquarters, and we anticipate the USER headquarters moving over the next several years. Do we send them to Wiesbaden, or do we bring them into Heidelberg? Right now, we're still bringing those personnel coming, those soldiers and civilians coming to the USER headquarters to Heidelberg. The folks that are coming into the Corps headquarters, they're going straight into Wiesbaden. And we will set a time, and we will work with managers who will determine where they need their employee for when is the right time to send those employees up to their future community. But again, right now they're still coming into Heidelberg.
Okay. Surprisingly enough, not many phone calls, getting a pretty steady stream of emails. But we'll give you the numbers once again in case you want to give us a call and ask a question. Perhaps we're answering everybody's questions, so they're all happy out there, I guess. I don't know. DSN 389-4595. That's 389-4595. The civilian number is 0621-460-85595. 0621-460-85595. The email, openline@afn.dma.mil. All this information at our website, afneurope.net. What about Mark Twain Village? What's the status on that? What will happen with that one?
Well, right now, Mark Twain Village, of course, is a housing area within the community of Heidelberg. It also is where Campbell Barracks is located. Mark Twain Village runs both the east and west side of Romerstrasse in Heidelberg, and what we're right now attempting to do is to begin to shape the future of Heidelberg's closure as well, by assigning the vast majority of our incoming families to Patrick Henry Village, to quite frankly where more services are located, where schools are, or our schools are located, and where our community will be in a sense enclaved until total closure.
The latest email is from Patrick, and he said, although no exact figure has been given on the number of people moving to the Wiesbaden area, are the schools ready to receive such a large number of students? Not just the facilities themselves, but also with enough teachers and classrooms. Same question could be asked of other service facilities, commissary, AFIS, housing, etc.
Gary, it's Colonel Dill. I'll take that on initially, and then I'll ask Roger Gerber to address it from a facility standpoint. But the answer is yes. We do have the capacity. The superintendent of the Heidelberg District, Frank Rail, has said numerous different forums. Dodge have done their assessment. We have the capacity for students and the teachers necessary to handle the numbers that are projected to come in through each phase of this transition. We also have some facilities upgrades going on, and I'll let Roger Gerber sort of address that as far as the schools themselves.
Yes, this is Roger. We do have the capacity today for the population that exists there now, and also for the projected population. As Colonel Dill said, there are ongoing projects and some future planned projects which will increase the capability and upgrade the quality of the education and not necessarily increase the capacity. The current project is to complete the construction of a gymnasium. That'll be ready for the school year 11 and 12, and the other part of that project is a new multi-purpose room which includes a cafeteria and a special curriculum. Those projects will be complete for the school year of 12-13. Then in fiscal year 2013, there is a project program to renovate or replace the remainder of the high school, and in 2014 a new elementary school and middle school. During that construction we'll have swing space, or we are constructing in new area so that the existing facilities can be used. So during that whole time we'll maintain that capacity that we have today.
And I suppose knowing whether or not there are enough teachers, administrative personnel is a question of knowing when you're going to, how many students you're going to have in any given school year.
Yes, and has been mentioned, 1st Armored Division is relocating to Texas, and so we had projected that there would be a decrease in the population in Wiesbaden over the next year. With the decision to stand up the modular 5th Corps structure in Wiesbaden starting this year, it actually allows us to keep the population that we have. And so Dodds is able to maintain the status quo with their teachers, and so for the upcoming school year, they're postured exactly where they need to be.
Let's go to the phones. We have Malcolm in Heidelberg. He has a question about private organizations. Malcolm, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm with a private organization in Heidelberg, and when Heidelberg moves up to Wiesbaden, will we have to reestablish our status in Wiesbaden, or will our status move with us? And then we have to every 2 years we have to apply for to renew our status. But would it move automatically, and then we just reapply at the end of the 2-year period?
This is Colonel Jeff Dill, Wiesbaden. You're going to need to re-register when you come into the Wiesbaden community, and I would tell you that across most post camps and stations, you have similar sets of private organizations, so you may be joining one that's already there.
Okay.
And if you bring a different capability, then you would register in the new community.
Okay, so in 2015, then we'd have to re-register in Wiesbaden. Then.
That's correct. But if you move there in 2014, just because you have a 2-year charter, you need to register upon arrival.
We do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
We have an email from Mike out of Kabul in Afghanistan. Hello, Mike. I'm glad you're listening. Are the separate brigades going to align under 5th Corps? I keep hearing the phrase unencumbered when referring to the Corps headquarters.
Gary, I've got that. Michael, thank you for that question. I'm glad you are listening in Afghanistan. I hope you're having a good day there and staying safe. I believe we're talking about the training, readiness, oversight that the Corps would traditionally provide to those brigade combat teams that are under them. And given that the Corps right now is in a building phase and moving up to Wiesbaden, and we have historically in the past, when the Corps has deployed, the USARA headquarters has provided that sort of support to the brigade combat teams. I can tell you that the USARA staff and the leadership is currently looking at the responsibilities, the USARA command plan, we call it, the general officers coming in this summer and what responsibilities they will have, senior mission commander kind of responsibilities, and we're determining when is the right time for the TRO, Training Readiness Oversight, to reside with USARA and to reside with the Corps. But if and when the Corps does deploy in the future, the brigades will definitely fall under USARA for that support.
Okay. With the new housing that's going up in Wiesbaden, is that just for new folks coming in, or how is that going to be allocated?
Well, that's an interesting question, Gary. I think the simple answer is it will become part of the overall inventory, and it will be assigned as part of the normal system.
Yeah, they're building a new set of quarters just outside of Mannheim's, the airbase there, right?
Well, it's actually adjacent to, and ultimately will become part of the airfield, inside the airfield perimeter. So it's the one exception. And let me be a little more specific. There are general officer sets of quarters, so obviously that's who will go in there, mm-hmm. and some other key and essential designate areas. But the general vast majority of the 326 sets of quarters will be part of the.
Do you have an
housing inventory.
Understanding now of how many people may have to be out in the economy as compared to how many will have housing? It's kind of hard to guess right now, I suppose.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Mark, can you kind of give a little perspective on that? Because in terms of what would be, I mean, we have total sets numbers of quarters, so mm-hmm. I know. And if we have full utilization, then that gives us some numbers we can work on that. But as far as off the top of my head right now,
yes, sir, we do have some numbers that we're projecting for FY13 when USARA is finally here. We're looking at about a population of around 1,600 living on base, and then our off-base military is going to be in the 1,200 range, and then our civilian off-base population should be about 3,700.
Oh, do you see that being sufficient commercial housing available as well in the Wiesbaden area?
We do, and it's a robust market. Wiesbaden's probably one of the more costly areas in Germany.
I know, I live there.
but then the OHA and the LQA is gauged for that too. So
okay. Chris is asking again. He says, rumor mill, Army wants to turn Pulaski over to the Air Force, but the Air Force doesn't want it, according to the rumor mill. Is Pulaski going to close, and our current tenants going to move to Sembach?
Yeah, I'll take that one on. This is Colonel Butcher. There's no plans at this point for the Army to turn Pulaski over to the Air Force.
Okay, we have about 8 minutes left in the program. You have a chance to give us a quick call, and it's again 389-4595 is the DSN, 389-4595. The civilian number 0621-460-85595. 0621-460-85595, or as seems to be the favorite method of communication this morning, open line at afn.dma.mil, in case you want to get any quick questions. And if any questions come in after the show, we will pass them on to the people who can give you the answers. Will individuals who don't receive LQA currently be eligible for it when they move to Wiesbaden? I know when I moved from Frankfurt to here, that was a big issue.
Gary, you're right. That's a fair question, and it's still a big issue.
Yeah.
And we are currently have the living quarters allowance regulation, the LQA regulation, is being staffed, and we're making sure that the policies are equitable and they're fair and they're the right solution for our relocation up there. Can't give you a definitive answer one way or the other for those employees in that situation, but it is a concern that we're looking at specifically.
And as I said, living in Wiesbaden, I know that that can be a really challenging traffic situation. You listen to the German traffic reports, and Autobahn 66, usually a parking lot, and going in between mines and so forth. Is there anything that we can do to alleviate that as we get more and more traffic moving around? I know they've changed some of the road structure.
Yes, this is Roger again. We have looked at that traffic, and in fact, in partnership with the city of Wiesbaden and state of Hessen, we did a study and they modeled the traffic. And as a result of that, one of the bottlenecks is at the B455 interchange where you go into the Wiesbaden Army Airfield. And so there is a design underway right now to improve that intersection, and that'll be funded by the host nation. And then as you move into the airfield, we have under design right now a new access control point, which will have 4 lanes in a separate truck route. And so that will satisfy the traffic going on post. Now, the main arteries that run through there, A66 goes east-west, and you have A647 that comes up there. Certain times of the day, those are heavy traffic, and I would just say that folks who are going to live off post would just consult what time they're coming in and which side of the city they want to be on, and if you're going against the traffic, primarily the flow of traffic in the mornings is from Wiesbaden into Frankfurt, and at night it's back, and so if you plan ahead, it's really not a serious problem for those of us who are living there now.
Sorry, go ahead.
Gary, one of the other things that the Wiesbaden Garrison has done also to help that issue is work with the communities of the host nation to increase the public transportation buses, both in the morning and in the afternoon, to support workers coming to and from the Army Airfield. It's a great thing, but what it also is indicative of is the support that the local community is willing to give us as we relocate up there. Again, they are ready to receive, they're willing to help, and they're taking extra steps to help us get to Wiesbaden.
Larry in Kaiserslautern asked if Army units in Kaiserslautern are moving to Sembach. Any Army units out of Kaiserslautern?
Yeah, I think that's this is Colonel Butcher. I think it's too early to tell. There is a required master plan for the future of the Kaiserslautern community as it grows. And undoubtedly, Sembach provides us with a capability to put units in and around there. But we have no designated unit thus far. Of course, we did move the MPs this past year from Kaiserslautern into Sembach, but at this point, nothing that I can state.
Yeah. Speaking of the rumor mill, and this is something I hear around the Wiesbaden community, they're going to put the fence up and the gates, and the housing area is going to be closed off, and your ID card. What's the status on that?
Well, as Colonel Dill mentioned, the housing area that we're constructing, the 326 units, that will be a contiguous part of the Wiesbaden Army Airfield, and so it will be behind the gate, yes. And then our current plan is Heidelberg, which is community support. It has the lodge, the schools, the PX and commissary. That housing area, which will be about 550 units, that will also be gated. We are in the process of taking those streets, which are currently public streets, over from the city of Wiesbaden, and then a 2013 Milcon project to build a new access control point. Our other two housing areas, Crestview and Aucum, those will remain open. Those are public streets, and the residents will continue to live on those streets, and it'll be open. Now, there's the capability of closing that. The area is fenced, and in coordination with the city at heightened states of alert, those can be closed, again with coordination with the city of Wiesbaden.
In about a minute or so, could we maybe just get the main email address, not email addresses, but websites where people with information perhaps will start the other way around? Does Mannheim have a specific site?
We do. We have the United States Army Garrison Mannheim website. However, it will close down on the 31st of May and migrate over to the USAG Baden-Württemberg website, which is very active also with their BW Now Facebook page. So that's where you can continue to get information on the Mannheim community.
And the medical world?
Okay. If I can give that, it's http://ermc.amed, that's AMEDD.army.mil. ERMC stands for the Europe Regional Medical Command, and that's our higher headquarters. Okay. And one can find all the information.
So quickly, anybody else?
Gary, we've got one on the USAR homepage. If you go to the U.S. Army Europe USAR homepage,
links to everywhere. Okay.
It takes you right there, and there's a lot of great information that is out there.
Super. Okay. Well, we're wrapping up now. Not too many phone calls, so I guess, like I said, you guys are just giving all the information and taking the steam out of the phone calls. A lot of emails, interesting emails, and I said before, anything that comes in after the show, we will send on to the interested parties, people who can give you the right answers. We hope we gave you some answers today. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.